I had two public works sessions.
Should we-
Trying to get.
Yeah, should we cancel the recording?
What?
You guys are clear to start.
Good start. Hear ye, hear ye.
Recording in progress.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to call the, what is this? The September Arts and Culture meeting to order at 6:32 PM here on September 6th, 2023. Welcome to our special guest tonight. We don't normally have anyone from the public joining us, so this is exciting. We have to run through some formal stuff first, and then we'll be right with you. But, so we're gonna start by call to order and then roll call. So Sarah, if you could please take the roll.
Absolutely. Tom Sonic.
Here.
Carrie Netto.
Here.
Amanda Black. Here. Stacy Maher.
Here.
Emily Hagenwood.
Here.
Lisa Ritchie.
Here.
C Yang.
Here.
Cecilia Garacki.
Here.
Lisa Wong.
Here.
Wow, and Sarah Ling, our commission secretary. Thank you, Sarah. So our next step is to adopt the agenda. If everyone had a chance to review the agenda, if there was any questions or anything like you would like to edit, please speak up. If not, I'll entertain a motion to adopt the agenda as written.
I move to adopt the agenda as written.
Moved by Carrie,
A second.
second by Lisa. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? The agenda is adopted. Now we're going to look at the minutes. So we had minutes, I think we had to approve some from our August 2nd meeting, and then from our joint meeting that we had with the Parks Commission on August 23rd. So everyone had a chance to take a look at those minutes. Any suggestions for changes or edits? We can entertain those now. Otherwise, I'll look for a motion to approve the minutes as listed. Do we want to do, we got to make a motion for each one?
Yeah.
Okay. So first, the approval of the minutes from our August 2nd meeting. Anyone want to make a motion for that?
I move to approve the minutes from the August 2nd meeting.
Thank you, Carrie.
Seconded.
Second by Amanda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Those minutes are approved. Now the minutes from the joint meeting with the Parks Commission. Any thoughts, questions, concerns about that?
I move to approve those minutes.
Approved by Carrie,
I second.
second by C. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Minutes are approved. Okay, meeting is open to the public. So you can say anything about what's going on in the city or the Arts Commission right now if you want, but otherwise we'll be getting to your thing in just a little bit. Anything you want to add? Okay. We don't have any public hearings, so we're blowing by that. And now we move to section 7, commission business, action items and recommendations. And our first item of business here is a certificate presentation for public art. We're gonna get a picture, but so, Madison, come on up here. Your name is Madison Dornfeld? Hi, Madison, I'm Tom Sonic. It's nice to meet you. How are you?
Good.
Well, you know, I think it's really cool what you did. Tell me a little bit about your project.
There are 58 blocks. I've lived in North St. Paul for 5 years. And,
Do you remember how we started it? What were we doing one day that we decided to start?
so I was painting rocks one day and my mom was like, Maddie, come look at this cool idea. And then I was like, let's do it. So then I started painting the rock. And then that's how we made the rock snake.
And then you made all the rocks joined together to make a snake with all the paintings that you did on it?
Mhm.
That is so cool. And do you know what? That what you did, that's exactly what this whole group is trying to do. Not paint rock snakes necessarily, but the whole idea is that you made something really pretty and really cool to help decorate North St. Paul, our town that we all live in. And that's really great. And so we want to thank you for doing that. So we're presenting you with this certificate for your extraordinary contribution to the city in making that rock snake. And that's really great. And I hope someday when you grow up, you'll consider being on the Arts and Culture Commission with the rest of us.
Yeah.
We'll all still be around here. Can we get a picture picture with you? Great. What do you have in your binder? Do you have pictures of your rock snake?
We do have some photos we can show, and then she has a poem that she wants to read.
Oh, that's right. Oh, we're dying to hear
She
that.
just wrote a poem about her rock snake.
Ah, that's what's in there.
Madison, where do you go to
Right.
school?
Public center school.
Yeah, she actually goes to
Awesome.
Roseville.
Yeah.
Her uncle teaches school there.
Ah, okay. So let's hear the poem.
My snake means no harm, he's not a human, he does not need an alarm. Isn't that silly, but for real, he's not wiggly. He is so sweet, but he is not a treat. His name is Slithers, and the best of all critters.
Oh,
We made the rock snake head, and then we posted in the North St. Paul Facebook group,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then we started seeing people come drop them off and ride their bikes
so
by.
neat.
Almost every day we get to go out there and we see 4 new rocks, huh? Thinking is that maybe since it's growing so big now, maybe there's a public place in North St. Paul that you guys could think of that we could move the rock snake to, so that everyone can
Well,
enjoy it a little.
I think we can
Like
discuss that.
park or something.
A park or, yep, the
Yeah,
small, the
that's a great
library, somewhere like that, yeah.
I think we should discuss that. this
Yeah.
evening.
All your
Have it
pretty
on our
rocks.
agenda. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And do you know, do you ever go up to Silver Lake Beach?
No.
Well, you should drive by there when you leave here tonight, because we just had an artist paint the bathroom building right at Silver Lake Beach with really pretty birds on it. And then we're gonna have, an arts festival on September 16th at Casey Park, where that same artist is gonna teach people how to paint bird houses. And we're hoping to put those in a park too. So maybe you could come and paint the birdhouse with
That's our favorite park, isn't it?
Casey Park.
Yeah, we love
Wait,
it.
wait.
That's the wooden one.
Oh.
Yeah.
My kids call it the mushroom park.
Oh, that makes sense too. Yeah, we love
Oh,
that
we
one.
call it the wooden.
Or like the castle park, I think you
Yeah.
called it before.
Yeah, we called it the castle park.
Okay. Can we get a picture with you?
You got a rock
We have
too?
some rocks to add to
Yes.
your
Wow.
snacks too.
Boulder.
This one's a little stinky still, so it might need a little bit.
Sorry, Mom.
Okay.
This is turning into heavy business. We should have them rocks.
It's eating something.
I'm
So close.
I'm turning 7
So you're turning 7? Wow.
soon.
If you guys all want to get in there too, I can send a picture.
Yeah,
They're like, okay, ready?
All right.
Good job.
Awesome.
Okay, one more over here. Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Awesome.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for
Well, thanks so much,
sharing.
Maddie, for coming in, and Grandma and Grandpa and Mom, and, we just think it's so great because she's doing exactly what we're trying to do, is trying to brighten up the city a bit with art, so this is great.
Well, we love North St. Paul, don't we?
Good.
Yes.
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
Such an exciting first visitor.
Yeah.
Everyone else is gonna be.
The bar is set high.
The bar is way too
Yes,
high.
yeah.
This is just like every council meeting, right, Lisa?
All your, public hearings are just like it.
Bye.
Lisa doesn't like when I try and bait her into saying something bad
She's pretty good at holding her tongue, right?
on video, yeah. Okay, well, that was really cool.
Yeah,
Sarah,
thank you.
thanks for getting that arranged. That was really good.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And, like she mentioned too, one of the things I put in here was placement of rock discussion. I was hoping that we could just brainstorm a few ideas that I could present to the city and see where we can put this. I know it's pretty big now with 60 rocks.
Yeah,
now.
so I wonder, we'll have to think about,
Will we leave it open,
somewhere in a park or something.
like to add more rocks to it?
I think we have to, right?
I think so.
When is there a space, like a maximum space size of, yeah.
I think it's infinite,
You know?
Lisa Wong.
We could
Cool.
have North St. Paul, Slithers, the snake going all the way to Oakdale. If
Wouldn't
we
that be
wanted to.
Wow.
So we could. bridge
Along the,
gap and have, like, cross-cultural city snakes. Sorry, Tom.
No, no,
I like it.
I'm just waiting for you to finish. No worries. No, yeah, or maybe along the Gateway Trail or something like that.
Oh, Gateway Trail would be great.
Yeah.
The library when it reopens.
That was kind of the thought at City Hall today when we talked about this, was by the
Oh,
library too, would be
okay.
cool.
What's the historical trail or history trail? Could we like have them go along that?
Yeah, we could have different locations
Yeah.
too.
Yeah,
Find
These
these
little
little
babies.
that would be really cool, yeah.
depending on how many we get.
What's the history trail?
Like, you know, the little houses
The
that have
walking.
thank you, the walking tour, yeah.
Where's the
For sure.
map or whatever? for that?
I think I can get it on the website.
I think it's on ours, but the History Museum does that, so.
Yeah, I've always wondered.
Yeah.
Okay,
Or Casey Lake, since she likes Casey Lake.
Yeah, there's a lot of
That'd be
space
really
there.
cool for kids.
Oh, for everybody. With the poem.
There's so
Oh,
cool.
that
my
poem is really
gosh,
good.
Yes.
like,
We need a flag
in
for the
a
poem.
sidewalk
That would be
square, like they have in St. Paul, you know, they're engraved in there and walk around and read poems.
Really, if you do
Really?
it,
I think that adds a
I
lot.
like that.
if you do Casey, you can have it start on that trail. And there's enough of that trail to keep it going,
For sure.
although I don't know about mowing and things like that. Yeah, that's the only concern, mowing or, removing snow, things like that.
So I would propose to do it around the perimeter of the playground, so that you don't have to worry about mowing or snow removal.
Potential, I worry about the number of kids who are gonna move those rocks around.
I think that's a risk anywhere though as well.
That's true. It's a good idea to help people.
Yeah, otherwise there's like the north side of Silver Lake, like that Joy Park.
Isn't that where she
That's
lives over
Maplewood.
in that area?
That's Maplewood.
Maplewood,
Yeah.
the Joy Park is Maplewood.
We've always wanted to
These-
annex it, but
Really? I thought it was like, Maplewood was like north of that, like, no.
Once we get
They
a
got it, they got a
It's like
little
a
piece
little,
of
like,
Silver Lake,
it's
and it's Oakdale across the street.
I've noticed that, is it Housey Park?
Housey.
Housey. I feel like that could use with a little zhuzhing or some excitement.
They're getting, like, the
More
field is
zhuzhing
going
coming.
away and like, it's like, they're redoing the tennis court.
That's it.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
they're gonna put in pickleball?
Okay,
Yeah,
but is it
so-
also gonna be tennis? Cause it's just lines, you know?
that is not my decision necessarily, but I think that multifunctional uses make sense to me. Worth asking, but yeah, that will be, yeah, there's construction happening there, so that would be the next project that I can remember off the top of my head.
We could maybe ask the park commission about incorporating, as long as they're redoing that, incorporating an area specifically for our rock garden that isn't in the grass, it's not close to the sidewalk. Basically, that doesn't interfere with public works maintenance.
Yeah, and they have that shelter there. Maybe go near the shelter.
In the future, you get a glass case for the head of the snake that sits in City Hall.
Oh, sad, it loses its head in the end.
Cut the head off.
Oh, I was just thinking to keep it forever. Cause I'm so happy with her.
Are the rest of the rocks smaller? I didn't do my diligence. I didn't know how big the rocks
I
were.
think they're all sizes. Rocks come in all shapes and sizes.
Okay, okay.
I didn't drive by it.
Ready to move on?
Yes.
Okay. Let's get into updates from subcommittees. So we have, Project Snowy up first. Any updates here?
Some updates. Go ahead. So, we met as a group and finished drafting, the call for artists, kind of
Okay.
like, refreshing that. So the next step will probably be sending it to Carrie to build out on Civic Clerk for, those who would like to apply. And, I believe a round of marketing went out about like the availability of purchasing Snowy. And, but, you know, like, we do still need to discuss like follow-up calls, maybe potentially involving a certain citizen in connecting with businesses who shown some interest,
Yeah.
but we haven't heard back from yet. And I don't think we've heard from any other businesses. Yeah, so I think it'll be important to do some more close follow-ups. But the interesting things, so first off, Snowy outside. We did notice that there's some cracking. I don't know if you guys have gone to look at the statue. There's like it's right by the shoulder area where like the arm and the body.
Really?
Yeah. And it's like actual cracks.
It's not just the veneers, but
it not like surfacey. It looked like, yeah, there was
But I
actual.
wonder if it was because it was never seal coated. We never had it painted.
Mhm.
That's one thing we discussed, just maybe it's because of
Do you think people are hanging on that arm?
Oh, probably.
somebody painted a face
Kids?
on
Yeah.
Did they really?
It's-
Is it still there?
It's not, yeah, it's more like dirt paint or
Yeah.
some, yeah.
But I would imagine every kid that walks by that thing hangs on an arm or something.
Could be, and you know, like, I guess like we should talk to Tilley too about either maybe like seeing if we need to repair that or like how
Yeah.
that might work as well. The other thing is we did meet with Roseville, the Visit Roseville, regarding their Roseville in Bloom project, the 20 roses, 20 companies, 20 artists, and got a lot of information.
Yeah.
I don't know how much to say, except like they took a slightly different approach from us, which is that they got artists to apply first and had like a binder full of like art potentiality, and then they went and shopped it around to the businesses.
And right then and there, the business could choose, I want this one.
Really?
Mhm.
Interesting.
And so they had like 70 artist submissions, which was great. They said that they could also share like those contacts with us as well. I do want to note here that they have dedicated people working,
Yeah.
who worked on this project. You know, they worked full time, they get paid for this, and so you know, it does look a little different, and their timeline was a lot shorter. They started in like
I think it was like 18 months overall.
Okay.
for
Less than
them,
that? Yeah.
less. It was like half a year.
From start to finish?
Yeah, like start to finish, like from like concept to like,
Okay.
yeah, to them getting it built out. So it was really rather quick.
And they also didn't come up to some of the hurdles that we are experiencing.
Yeah. And so,
Essentially,
Roseville is, I looked it up, 35,000 people in population. We are 12,000 about, so maybe like 3 times our size as well. So it is, so those are just thoughts, but, you know, like we did get some ideas, and, you know, like having the artist, like a artist profile that we could also plug into is also
Yeah.
helpful there.
I think that's a good idea for people to see. Here's what it could actually look like.
I'm hoping, and we need to meet again still, if we can maybe get the artist application rolling out soon, then we can start to show some of those to potentials as we get them in.
Yeah.
I'm curious with that application, are they submitting a portfolio as well?
It'll, yeah.
Or at least links to like their work, right, that we could look at.
Oh,
We
also,
had those initial.
that's exactly what I was gonna
artists,
say, yeah.
yeah.
Do we have those still?
Yeah.
So initial people?
Yeah, is that the owl?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, but we have those still, the initial?
They're in the
submissions?
Google
Okay,
file.
okay, great.
The Roseville did point out a few of their concerns or issues that they ran into along the way. And a couple of those were with artists that they basically said to us that we need to do our due diligence of confirming that these artists are
legit.
legit,
Yeah.
I didn't want to use the word legit.
Yeah.
And that they will show up and do the work that they have promised.
Yeah, yeah.
They had a couple that they had to get redone.
Mm,
They also, don't want to bring it up, but they had Tivoli 2 do the clear coat, which I still think is a really good idea,
Really?
but it would cost us.
Hmm.
What is it, 100 per seminar, was it? And then travel.
Yeah, the travel part, I think, was the biggest.
Mm.
So what is the rate for travel? Is it like a flat fee or is
No, it was confusing.
Mm.
If we went through Tivoli 2, as far as transportation, they had varying rates depending on their time, like by the minute, and weight of transportation.
It just can't be that hard to clear coat these things. They put this stuff in a.
My guess is they put it in a spray room and spray it evenly over the whole thing, whereas we might have to, with our limitations on space, brush it on possibly.
Or just spray it outside.
Yeah, just put a tent around it.
I would put covered ground or
Right,
plastic down too or something.
yeah.
But right now, what we have is that the artists will be clear coating it themselves.
Oh, right.
With
With us purchasing the clear coat. But if we're not providing also a sprayer, then
Right.
what's the option?
Mhm.
Does Public Works have the, availability of clear coating? Is that something they've
know, I can
done or can do?
I can certainly ask.
And what their rate would be.
Burden on their budget, but if we could.
Don't know, but I can follow up on that too.
Well, they must have sprayed the base coat on the bathroom building.
They hired somebody to
Oh,
do
they
that.
did.
I think understanding what the rate that they would bill us would be important to weigh that against transportation quotes to have Tivoli 2 do it.
Right.
So that's why we need to know what Public Works would charge the project.
Okay. We can bring that up another time.
Does Tivoli 2 have a warranty on their product?
They must, I would think, and we should, I'm sure if we reach out to them about the cracking, it's.
Well, did we sign a contract with them already
No.
for that first one? Okay.
No, they just did it.
Just good
Oh, like a
business sense on their part.
Like a purchase.
Yeah.
Did Roseville do all of theirs at once, or is it an ongoing program?
All at once, it was 20 statues in 2020. And they also, so the roses were out the length of their program, which was 6 months. And then at the end of 6 months, purchasers were allowed to do whatever they want with their roses. So she said that there's one person who purchased who will likely move his rose eventually into his backyard because his dad was a big gardener and grew a lot of roses.
That's cute. Sweet.
What was their purchase price point?
We didn't ask that.
I thought it was like 9,000. It was a lot steeper than
Okay.
ours.
So.
And they paid
we
their
can tell
artist
people This is a
2,000.
bargain.
Yeah. They paid their artist 2,000. Sorry.
And they have full-time staff working on that. And Sarah, I wonder if you could look into this, because I haven't received even my first paycheck for the Arts Commission. Is there?
Me neither.
Is that coming? Yeah.
They don't have your address on file.
Okay, well, it's all good discussion. Anything you need from the group on the project at this point?
No, but we as a team, subcommittee will need to just regroup and talk next steps.
I think the winter is gonna be a good time to focus on this because there will be a lot of other things we won't be focusing on. Because it'll be cold and we can't do anything outside.
I have a question with how this program fits into the events workshop that we had. Do we need to include this program?
It's not an event.
But when we launch, we're not gonna do an event to launch it, or?
If we do, then we'll bring Carrie in and she can kind of help coordinate either like ribbon cuttings or things like that if we want to do that. But it's not like the whole program is an event itself.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, murals. Well, nothing's happening there.
We got a really cool one.
Yeah, we got a great mural.
Yeah.
Did that process go well?
It went really well, and actually went really kind of fast, and, so the only thing was, so Brian doesn't want to paint that backside of the building.
Based on the residents.
Yeah, I have not gotten confirmation one way or the other.
So, because the street facing side is like kind of a light tan, it's even whiter than it used to be. And so it's kind of, we wanted that backside to just be a complementary color to the mural.
Right.
And so Taylor said, I was actually there talking with him, and he said, like, this color in here would be good. So we asked to see if we could get that backside painted that color, and then he could wrap the grasses coming around just a little bit on there. But we have to get that base coat on there for him to do that if we're gonna do it.
What color did Taylor recommend?
It's kind of a bluish gray, maybe.
I think it's one of the colors he used. in the bird.
Yes, it's one of the colors in the birds.
As far as him coming out and actually painting the background of it, I think that was a no, based on cost.
Who?
Taylor.
Oh,
I did present that to Brian too. So he was gonna check with Public Works and see if they had the availability to go out and do that. And that's
Okay.
kind of where that was left, also on Friday.
Okay.
Yesterday, so we're getting there.
yeah.
Does anybody know if the public was opposed to the mural, with the people that live around there?
I haven't heard
Negative
anything.
feedback?
It didn't seem like it, and as he was going along, the feedback on social media and as well, feedback he was getting was that, why aren't we doing the street side? That was,
Oh,
everybody was
sure.
asking that, so. I think people wouldn't necessarily be opposed to the darker color with just a hint of his mural on the one side.
Mhm, mhm.
It went up really fast,
It did, yeah.
like in 2 days, right? Because I know on the 17th, and then there was another potential event on the 21st.
Yeah, I can't remember.
But by then it was
exactly.
done.
Yeah, I think one day he was rained out maybe, but, yeah, he moved pretty fast.
He used
on
an
it.
airbrush. I'm
Yeah.
assuming.
Mhm. But, yeah, I think it looks fantastic. Yeah, it does get you excited to do more. So hopefully if we have some budget next year, we can, jump on it again. I mean, that process went pretty well, so.
Yeah, he was great, and he's still really excited to do that backside too, so if we can get confirmation on that, that'll be a go too, so.
Yeah, it'd be nice to just kind of finish up. And honestly, I don't know if you would really want too much complexity on that backside, because it's actually it's a lot right now, with the three sides.
Yeah.
Just a slight wrapping of.
Just the wrap, yeah, I think that'd be
Just a
cool.
little accent.
But, so then I think, our subcommittee, we haven't met in a long time, but maybe we need to start to think about meeting again and figure out where to go next. Obviously, won't get another mural done, this year, but thinking ahead, yeah.
And he's still on for,
Birdhouses,
16th,
yeah, at the
good,
Arts Festival, so,
thank you.
yeah, it's good. Utility boxes, any update there?
Forget where we left off, but yes, there is some. So I think at the last meeting, we said that we chatted about like rough timeline on our next batch, which is the phase 1.5. And we, as a team, did share our options with each other. So our next step is to meet at our next destination of boxes to see what kind of pictures, especially nature pictures, which is our theme, would complement that area and would, look well on that box. So being a little bit more intentional with the art that we go with, but this will be more like a subcommittee effort. And so, yeah.
We have our ideas compiled. We just want to go to the spot and read the room, read the scape, and decide from there on which
Cool.
image we think will fit best.
What's the next box you're doing?
It'll be so our thought is doing, it's on 7th Ave on 2nd Street. It's a little set further back. So, so it's not like in the main area, we kind of, we still want to save the main stuff where like the phase 2 community engagement type of phases.
Sorry, I just saw one, recently that was hand painted too. I can't remember where that was, but so people do that.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's if there's an interest in that. Because we sure found these muralists, willing to work, so,
Phase 2 or 3.
Yeah.
yeah, right?
Did Ronnie's ever respond? Oh,
No,
that's too bad.
yeah, and it's okay. We'll just give them, like, I think some space, some time, and we'll loop back and, include them in another round of, or maybe like some community engagement piece into it.
If they don't respond soon, tell them we're gonna do frogs on their utility boxes
Frogs.
to make everybody go to Newman's.
I see.
Wow.
With the text that says Newman.
Wouldn't that be-
Went there.
That'd be a total hazing.
Oh, man.
Okay, so, but potential still getting one done
At
this
least
year?
2. Yeah.
Two this year?
At
Great.
least 2.
There's 2 in that spot. They're both quite a bit smaller than the first 2 we did, so we should be able to get that done.
Cool, great.
Yeah.
Art cart,
Oh, we did another rock painting for our last event at Casey Lake, and I did spray coat all of them on their out front, if you haven't seen them.
Great.
So I'm super excited, and I also found some glow in the dark rocks, just little ones that I purchased, and I'll put those out there too. I thought that'd be kind of fun,
Cool.
yeah.
I like that.
and then the thing, are you gonna be there at the Arts Festival?
No.
Oh, that's the Coloring the Snowies, right?
We have a volunteer for that.
Oh, we do, okay, great. And so great, so we had Music in the Parks, June 15th, July 20th, August 17th, and we had the City Night, the car show, all those done. So now it's September 16th, and that'll be our season for the art
That
cart.
will be the season for the art cart.
Pretty cool.
Another successful year, so
Is this the second year or the third year?
second.
Second. Great. Is there any need still for toilet paper rolls?
Nope, we are good.
I'm gonna call that one green. See,
They're still sitting by the side of my desk in the corner.
We can make fire starters out.
this is great. Yeah, boy, I look forward to having a chance to go to the council at the end of the year and talk about what this group has done.
See, if you wanted to donate your collection, we could certainly put them, there's a huge box that we have, it's about half full. So,
Oh, okay.
Okay, paint and sip.
Wow, that was a great night. Thank
It was
you,
fun.
Lisa, for organizing
Is this the
that.
cherry blossoms
It
night?
was,
Yeah.
yes.
It was very
it was
fun. Cece even did one. Do you want to give a report on the paint and sip night, Cece?
Oh, yeah, it was
Thanks.
really fun. I don't know.
We had a good turnout, right? Like 8
Yeah,
people?
yeah, there's quite a few people and some people like branched out even and did some really fun stuff.
Cool.
Do we have pictures?
Oh,
That's
thousands.
so,
We did.
Yeah.
Yes. We can send out more.
that's up,
Okay.
wasn't it in
I-
the newsletter?
Isn't
Is it in a newsletter?
Yeah.
I still don't-
See,
Are you really?
I'll forward it to you right now.
Yeah.
To me too, because I don't know how to sign up.
Sure, sure.
Oh, my.
I know.
Yeah, I think you can
certainly
certainly
send
go on the
out more
website
photos,
and
too.
sign up.
You can get all these commissioners signed up on the newsletter.
I just don't even know where to.
On the
go.
website.
Yeah, because I could forward this to you, but it doesn't have a direct link to sign.
Okay.
No,
So
it's just right
going
on.
forward, I think we can schedule something for October, if you want to let me know what dates are available. Trying to think, well, I'm pretty flexible in October. so-
Yeah, so this we can keep doing all year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
There should be a great thing probably in the winter, more
I
people
think
looking for
so.
something to
I
do.
think so.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think we should scale back the number, though, we were at 25 for a maximum, and even with a group of 8, there was 2 people per table, so there'd be a lot of setup and take down, and I think that'd be too big of a crowd,
Sure,
so
what are
should
you
we say, 16 at the most?
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Same costs and everything like that. we can
I
work
think
with
so.
it.
We're not doing it for profit. That
Right.
probably covers our materials and.
We have people I've never seen at any of the other, cars, I've never seen them at any of our other events, so it was nice to see
Yeah,
some
that's
new
good.
faces. and
Yeah, new faces.
That was really
One thing
nice.
that I would really like to emphasize though is we need to make sure that Carrie's incorporating the image.
Yeah.
And promote that more. One lady came and didn't know that we were doing cherry blossoms because she's not using that image to promote it. She's, describing it. I think it was posted somewhere, but the actual, you have to go in and register. And then you see what it is, I think is how it is, but.
Yeah.
Did they say how they heard about the event?
Did we get
No, I didn't
survey
ask.
results at all?
Or,
I can't check specifically from that event, so we do have
Okay.
surveys, but it's a
Okay.
Yeah.
wide range, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll send you the October dates
Okay,
tomorrow.
okay,
We can
sounds good.
Set it up, cool.
Right.
Yeah, and if we could schedule it, which is not, it was kind of unusual that something was going on earlier that day.
Yeah.
So if we could try to avoid that, that would be good. I know you were scrambling and
Yeah,
put a crunch on you, so.
yes.
And as I mentioned, you don't have to do all the setup, Sarah. That was a ton of work.
Sarah was amazing. We walked in, it was all done. We just got to have the wine part. It was amazing.
Did you bring wine?
Of course,
Good.
yeah. My friend Sabina brought a whole cooler of cider. I'm like, I don't know who you're staying, but okay.
Great. Well, this is, even, like you said, I think it's really great, Carrie, that there were people that you hadn't seen at any other event that came to this. And I just think that every activity that we do, every bit of art that gets out there in the community, it's just more and more people see that. And I think it's gonna begin to have this cumulative effect, and so I think it's really good. We've been working on this a while, but it takes time,
It does
and
take
it's just, but now you're starting to see, it's like cherry blossoms, like things are starting to blossom around,
That's right.
right? I mean, it's like
Exactly.
Cherry
flowers.
blossoms fizzle really fast, don't
Flowers starting to bloom. They're like whatever we have in our backyard, those ones that last forever. They're like pretty flowers that last forever. Whatever those are.
Poetic.
Yeah, do we need
Yes.
the 6-year-old poet back?
That gives me an idea. We should do something with poetry for kids.
Why not?
That would be really cool.
I don't know what.
Well, we'll put it on.
Another day.
I saw they had in Minneapolis, they had a whole poetry thing on windows. Moon Palace Books had a whole poetry exhibit, so you could just walk by on the sidewalk and see all the poetry. It's really neat.
Is it like a decal thing?
Yeah,
Oh, cool.
yeah, just slap it on the wall or window.
I'm sure it was that easy.
Oh,
too.
sure, yeah, whatever.
Well, I have to share, it wasn't really a poem, but I know the Star and Trib used to, around Thanksgiving, post what children were thankful for.
Oh, yeah.
And my favorite was the little girl that posted, she was thankful for her fish because he understood her.
So true.
I love it. It's great.
No one has ever quite understood me like that. Walleye, I thought.
Like your fish.
Okay, next big thing on the list is the Autumn Arts Festival. Amanda, you want to talk about this one?
We are all set to go. Yeah. So if everyone's available, September 16th, it would be great to see you out. I don't have a volunteer update, but I'm assuming we're still accepting more volunteers.
Yes, we are in big need of volunteers.
Okay.
So that's.
How
many?
We only have one signed up right now. Yeah, and I think, how many were we asking for? 20 maybe?
It got confusing.
So volunteers are in need, yes.
Yes, we were asking for about 2-hour shifts throughout the day if they can sign up. We were asking for them to sign up for specific needs. So the art cart was one, but that's who we have a volunteer for. Traffic control,
Helping the vendors.
artists, vendor setup,
working inside with,
Oh, we need,
working with Taylor and working with the bingo in there as well, help them with setup and. take
so there's
down
quite a few things and however many volunteers we can get. Could you send it out to any high school programs that might?
Could your student council or National Honor Society help us out?
I will send it to National Honor Society.
Okay, nice. There should be a link on our website.
Yes, but I can send you one too separately, so
Well,
it's easy for you to.
Could you maybe keep a separate list other than just the people, who's the person that filled out a form?
Do you know who she is, Barbara?
Oh, you know what? She was at our paint event.
Huh,
Oh, really?
Yeah, she told me that she had volunteered.
Oh.
She was the one that came with her.
And she signed up for the whole day to do the art cart.
Oh, good.
Wow,
great.
that's really cool.
Mhm.
because I'll be there all day, my wife will be there as long as we need, and she's gonna be volunteering. I can bring my son along with. Carrie
be
has
there,
said that she's gonna be there.
Mhm.
I know there will be
Amanda will
enough,
be there.
there will be a lot of people there that we can kind of say, we need help here, go do this.
Yeah.
So it would just be helpful to have.
Yeah, and
What's that?
I'll be there.
Good.
And like, honestly, last year, see, you were there in the beginning when the makers showed up. And I kept asking people if they needed help and nobody needed help. They all just
Mhm.
came in and just did their thing.
The vendors don't need a ton of help, especially once they're set up. It'll be help more around the other events that are happening.
It's just different this year because they can't pull their cars up like they could last year.
And we have Parks and Rec doing the trolley thing,
Well,
right?
they're not gonna be able
Public
to
Works
drive
is-
onto
Public
the
Works.
trail there?
Um,
Oh.
No.
I
oh.
wouldn't count on that. I don't know for sure, but they have their cart is a manual, it's stick. And I've heard that I've heard that they don't know how to drive a stick. So the Parks Commission.
Oh, no, sorry, I had it wrong. It was Public Works who's doing that, right?
That's as far as I know from Jill, but I can confirm that.
Yeah.
So they can't
I
drive on that
confirm.
trail at all? to
No,
drop their
there's
stuff?
a curb that leads up to the trail, and so we can't allow them to drive that, and they can't
Oh.
drive around. So right now, we have the option of pulling up to the side and carting in, or going into the parking lot and using the, what is it called?
I know they had a name for it, but I'd never heard
dolly?
before.
No, it's like this.
Gator?
The gator?
Gator, thank you, and getting help with the gator.
So then they will need help
Yeah.
this year.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I don't think Public Works is doing it. I really don't, because the guys would have to come in on overtime and they have to rely on them for sewer backups, for snow, and Ron wants to make sure that he doesn't burn them out.
we're just saying what we had seen in past meetings.
Yes.
Because this has
The
been, this
request
has
is
been,
there. The request is there, I know, but.
oh, okay. So yeah, it is 11 to 6. We have performers going all day. We have bingo. We will have chalk.
Yes.
So what did, no, the
Basically.
performers are not all day.
Well,
Is it-
we have things going on all day.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Oh, sorry, no, we have birdhouses being painted, and then bingo, and then performers start at 1:30.
Or is it like, well, I know you had that
Oh, I gotta,
schedule
yeah, I have to make that.
somewhere. We need a schedule of just the overall
Yeah,
activities.
that's on
It was in the
probably.
newsletter.
Is it in the newsletter?
Issue before last, yeah.
Really?
It has the birdhouses first and then it has all the performers listed.
Are you in charge of that?
No,
I mean,
just the performers, but the performers are starting, I think we shifted, right? Because
We
we
did. I'm gonna go on here. right
were
now.
gonna have them start at one point and then we shifted because of when the birdhouses would be starting.
So performers are starting at 2. So we have the birdhouse painting from 11 to 12:30, bingo from 1 to 2, and then the performers from 2 until 6. So.
And we have an art cart, we have a bounce
Something all
house,
day.
we have hot chocolate, we have food trucks. Do we have confirmation on how many food trucks?
I think she's got 6.
Ooh,
Oh, that's a lot.
5 or 6, yeah.
Do you want those included in the schedule? If you can give me the list, I can add it in.
Yes, I will get that list from her. I'll get that tomorrow morning.
Sarah, could you send an update communication to all the performers, maybe just all of them as a group?
Mhm.
And just say, just a reminder, here is the schedule.
Yes,
And any questions, they can direct them to me.
Cece, will you be performing?
Definitely.
Yes,
be
I'll be
great.
performing 2 dances.
Yeah.
Gonna
Nice.
dance?
One's contemporary and one's jazz. Yeah,
Nice.
one's really cool. I think you guys will really like it.
But the other one is.
No, the other one is really fun, but
Oh,
one of
okay.
them like has chairs that we use.
No
It's like kind of
way.
goofy-ish.
So you get to involve a prop?
Like
Yeah, there's like
Chicago.
9 chairs. So
Cool.
fun.
Cool.
Sounds awesome.
Is there like
So-
a map
Yeah, I have a map.
of layout?
I'm gonna put together sorry, I'm trying to do 2 things at once.
Sarah, that might not hurt to send the map to the performers as well, just so they can see an aerial view, like here's where you'll be.
Yep. I will do that too.
I'm just thinking as like an attendee, I'd love to
Yes.
like, be like, oh,
Yes, so
maximize my route.
I'm gonna have this map that I've put together with the schedule and list of food trucks then. I might list the vendors in there.
Where's the food truck?
Food trucks will be down here on the street.
Oh, on the street, I got it.
We have the picnic tables being moved. So we have a fire truck. Do we have fire truck and police vehicle?
Yes, they have not been able to confirm a time though, so we'll have to
Good.
It's fine.
say at some point.
As long as we can maybe rope off that one section.
Pretty much you'll be able to see everything from one spot.
Yes.
Yeah, it's much more compact than it was last year.
Makes total sense from back there, right?
Yeah. At this rate, it's probably gonna be like 50 degrees.
I know.
I'm just kidding.
Are you guys putting an information tent up at all?
It's gonna be inside the building.
Okay.
And myself and Jill, the staff liaison for the Park and Rec Commission, are gonna be running that all day.
Wow, really?
Wow, yes, we are.
Do you have any support for that? That's a long day.
It's a long day.
There's more
Well, we're gonna do it.
volunteers right there, and we're not counting.
I'm gonna bring them some food trucks.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And then what time, we said we're starting, vendors could arrive at 9, correct? So volunteers could potentially start coming at 9 if you'd like.
So
I'll
Yeah.
be there by 9
Yeah.
at the latest.
this schedule is just missing that folk duo,
Yes.
Thank you.
so we gotta just make sure.
I noticed that the communications for the Autumn Arts Festival in the newsletter from the city is getting kind of buried at the bottom quite frequently. And I was wondering if we could ask Carrie really nicely, if maybe in the next one, it could be,
The next
Closer to the
newsletter won't come out until after, I think.
No, it's every
No.
Wednesday. so
Yeah.
we won't-
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Or maybe
I
we
will
can
ask
send out
again.
a
Cool.
separate email.
yeah, even a separate one would be awesome.
Yeah, I'll ask for that too.
And we could even maybe put some pictures from last year in there, just kind of give it a little more.
Does anybody have pictures from last year?
Well, I mostly from the vendors, like.
That's
there's like
fine.
I think I have
Um,
some too.
Okay, because I don't think we had a lot, no, we didn't have any on the
We don't
city
have
side,
any
so we couldn't
internal.
add it on the,
Oh, okay.
on the website or anything. So if,
When we have photos, where can we dump them?
You can send them to me and I'll get them to the.
Okay, so we'll gently hand them to you. Sounds good.
So yeah, it's gonna be an exciting day.
I got a postcard for an Autumn Arts Festival,
Mhm.
and my husband got really excited. Look, your thing has a separate postcard. It was the St. Peter's
Yeah, the St.
I was
Arts
just
Festival.
Say-
Yeah.
say-
Fall festival.
Well, we had to move them around so that ours was not in conflict with their date. Ours,
know,
ours
but-
comes first.
Why can't we have a special postcard?
Well, because we can't spend money.
Well, and that's what I'm wondering, so, after our last meeting, do we have to go to like, is there any money left in our budget?
Yeah,
Okay, and would we need to go to council if we want to spend
No.
anything? Okay. Okay, because I'm thinking, if we may need to buy a paint sprayer if we're gonna do the snowies. And if Public Works can't do it, I could, as long as we have a sprayer, I could do it. I'd have to, my husband, no. He's
So
done
the
lots.
budget year is the calendar year, so it
Yeah.
would have to be reviewed by the beginning of November to have the purchase made by the beginning of December, so it falls on this calendar year.
probably, yeah.
So you'd have
Maybe
to-
as long as the receipt is December 31st or earlier, I suppose.
Mhm.
Yeah, where are we at with our budget for this year? Are we underspent on certain
Yes.
things?
I'm
so
sorry. Also, is that weird audit over, or is that still ongoing?
No, that's over.
Oh, that
It is over? Wow.
Really?
And what did they find?
Congratulations.
Not much, just being a little bit more diligent about receipts.
Getting make sure all
Oh,
the
gee,
receipts
really?
are accounted for.
Yeah,
Good thing we had that done.
I can certainly tell you just from the top end here, we have not spent any of our Project Snowy money this year, so we have $1,000.
Oh,
So if we need to buy the sprayer
And get it sprayed, yeah.
buy a killer sprayer
Yeah.
for.
And maybe a temporary pop-up tent to go around each one.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? That would
With
actually,
sides to it.
well, but
If you-
even
If you
just,
guys want to send me those ideas too, if you have like specific thoughts, I can certainly bring them to our next meetings and we can talk about them. And
because, yeah,
I can order
or
it.
even like having a pop-up shade tent.
Yeah.
Just like, not for the use of spraying the things, but could be useful for events.
Orange, please.
No.
Orange is our color.
Okay,
Sorry.
strong feelings there.
Strong feelings on orange too.
so I know, so that's, so I was gonna say, so the arts festival is our next big thing, but it's not really because we have the parade 2 days before that.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
we didn't have that on, look, it's coming on, it's orange tape. What do you got in mind?
I'm not opposed with orange in general.
What do we need to know about the parade,
Well, I do
Sarah?
have this on for later in the, do
This
you
is
want to
for
talk about it
staff.
Okay,
now,
do we,
or-
let's do that at the staff updates, but so, but anyways, then for the arts festival, is there anything else we're missing? I just want to make sure, so there are numerous volunteers who just, you don't have on your list, but obviously the people that we just named off. And if anyone else is available, just let Sarah know, but, and if you have other people, who you know, we could let them know,
Do we get radios for the day?
just yell.
Is Laura bringing radios? Do you know? Okay. we
I don't know if that was ever
All right,
discussed.
It was discussed,
Oh, okay.
Huh.
but the city didn't have.
Oh,
any,
the
so-
walkie-talkies.
Yes.
I'm thinking like music radio.
Oh. No.
Yes, Laura was gonna bring, sorry, I call it walkie-talkie.
Yes, she's got some.
Yes.
Laura,
Agree with her.
okay.
From the school district, I guess they have some that they don't use, so she's gonna bring some with
I
one.
know we've used the fire departments in the past. Is that an option?
Okay, this is your-
Yeah, just this one time something burns down, Gary.
We just have to go respond to it, that's it. The
Um,
fire stipulation, yeah.
so just wanted to confirm then for the volunteers and then final communication, Sarah, for anyone who's, whether performers or artists or whatever.
Yes.
Okay, then their next item is culture and ACC projects and our subcommittee, did they get a chance to meet?
We did.
Oh.
I just want to say, I actually just noticed an error in our meeting minutes from last time. I'm also on the subcommittee.
Okay.
I'm sorry, they've already been approved.
Yeah, I guess I'm erased
It's
from
over.
the subcommittee. I'll add that in. Thank you. Yeah, so we had a chance to meet, and it was C, Carrie and I. And we kind of just had like we touched base and we brainstormed some work for the subcommittee and just kind of did some brain dumping of opportunities and ideas that have come to mind. But lots of good ideas about incorporating DEI into the work that we're doing. But our main conversation point kind of went back to that idea of hiring an outside DEI consultant who can kind of help us identify and align the work that we're doing. And so we kind of just ended on our action item for this month is we're each going to do some research on DEI consultants. We're going to compile names and experiences, and we're going to just go from there, gauging those options that we pull together.
We get quotes from them as well.
Yes, I think we want to even just see what's out there before we even start, digging into was viable for us. But yeah, that would be a next step for sure. And did you have anything else you wanted to add? Either of you?
Just about we connected with the, League of Minnesota Cities.
Oh, good. That's a good idea.
Yeah, so we connected with the League of Minnesota Cities about, who, you know, like, they have a DEI coordinator, and they also have a learning manager who actually oversees the DEI coordination role. On, you know, like, kind of their thoughts around other cities and how they approach DEI work. And so it was a good meeting. I think as far as, you know, like, they were mentioning about, you know, probably like really early steps would just be doing research on how other cities are doing it. And they gave examples that we could kind of like check in on. This is like cultural plus art, right? And so, and how certain cities have kind of started and then having that like grow into bigger events. So we could look into that as well. I also asked a little bit about like if we were looking for someone to help us workshop through like building, you know, building a vision or strategy around how we would do the work. They had mentioned that, you know, like it might be best if we ourselves kind of figured out ahead of time on like what we wanted. I don't know. I'm just saying maybe I didn't share the right information either, but you know, kind of start building out ideas on what it is that we want to achieve, and then they can kind of like using people to kind of carry out the work. She's just saying because it could get really costly with when hiring out DEI consultants, because how much did we tentatively budget? Was it like
22 or 25?
Yeah, and so I think like that wouldn't go very far at all.
Right.
And so, you know, like, and one of the ideas I was just actually throwing to Emily earlier before this meeting was just that, you know, like at work, my role within the place I work is, you know, like, is to do facilitation work, to do workshops, to, you know, like, help them build visions or do strategic planning. And so I was thinking like, it could potentially be an opportunity for us as a group to kind of come together to, you know, like formulate a vision on how we do want to incorporate more cultural inclusivity into like our arts work. We could, you know, like, and that way it's not just like the three of us, and it's more like, it includes more voices, potentially, you know, we can invite other city folks, Brandy, you know, or some other folks who might have other thoughts on
Could
how
that be an agenda item rather than a special meeting?
to workshop.
Yeah.
It would take a couple hours. That's the only thing to do a good workshop on it. So I guess like it depends on how long you want to do a meeting for.
Right.
I love the idea of a workshop for this. I think it's missing, but I also think that this should be lifted higher to the city, to have the city take this and support us by modeling.
And yes, and I touched base a little bit with the folks at League of Minnesota Cities, and you know, like the talk is that, like, you know, like the work we're looking to do is not to cause a ruckus, right? Our, you know, like the work is to build community, to engage community, and it's a good thing. So, you know, like taking it to city council, or, you know, like presenting it and framing it in a way, I think city council could get bought into it. One of the other things was also like, do we want to wait for like a, you know, like a a moment, like she was saying, oh, I asked her, how do these type of things usually come about for cities? And she said, sometimes it's just like a good citizen or like, an effort and partnership that kind of like then blooms into work that the city then takes on to build community, right? And then there are also motivating events like
Yeah.
George Floyd type of thing. And so I'm thinking like, would we want to wait for that type of event for us as a city to
No.
do, something like this, or?
Well, we could react to the flag that was flown up the street. That was a reactive event that
Huh?
caused turmoil.
They still
Yeah.
fly, they still have it.
Exactly,
What?
and that's reactive.
What are you talking
Like
The
Oh, flag. I thought you said flag.
flag.
It's like there's another flag?
Yeah. It's coming back.
But you know what I mean? Like, why wait for something horrible to happen?
For a negative
It feels
event
so
to-
reactionary.
Right. Whereas we could be more proactive in our
Yeah.
work. Yeah, so that was, like a thought that, yeah.
Can I make a suggestion? I think the community engagement piece will help drive what the cultural vision will be. So if there is a community engagement plan, that might be helpful. Does that make sense?
A community engagement plan from us, specifically, we're talking about at a higher level.
I mean, either the consultant or, that's kind of typically like staff role.
Yeah.
A staff.
So hiring a
members.
staff person.
Or putting it on the agenda of somebody else who is already on staff, who might have community engagement in their role at the city.
Is there?
There is not.
There's no one that even has that a little bit in the community
Brandon?
engagement, communications. I feel like there's
Well,
an expert on
Carrie.
Yeah.
That's more for marketing. I don't know what she, but yeah, I'll be quiet.
Communications and events.
Yeah, her role changed, yeah.
Okay,
She got hired on as staff instead of a consultant.
right,
Yeah,
okay.
so.
Well, perhaps we should go to a city council meeting.
It's not a bad idea. I remember, after George Floyd and, a lot of this interest in DEI efforts sprang up all over the place. And, it was George Floyd, and then there were others. I can't remember the name of the young man in Brooklyn Park.
Mhm.
But, these are things that, our entire city has to be aware of, and especially our police department, because it's like, what happens when a North St. Paul cop shoots a black man or something, then what? Do we want to say, okay, well, now we'll start doing things, but that's more police related, but I think, being able to do things more broadly throughout the city. And so, like, I know this has been mentioned, but this is where I think that the responsibility is probably more broadly on the city to get some of this engagement going. I think it's good for us to try and engage with the community as far as like the arts are concerned and what we're trying to do. But there are, as far as like bigger DEI efforts, I do think that's the city's domain, and they should be involved in that. I think the police department should be. Maybe they are doing things now that I don't know, but and I like your idea, C, of just leading a workshop within our group.
Yeah,
And coming up with ideas like what exactly do we want?
right. That's of course like, our focus,
For
how
our
we
thing, yeah.
build community within the arts community and
Yep.
culturally, right? Whether that's, dress, food,
Yeah, so I think that's something we could do for no cost, right? That would at least give
What's
us,
that?
what's that?
what are we doing at no cost?
If we had, were you talking about leading
Oh,
a
yes.
workshop
Yes.
yourself?
I was like, yes.
Heck,
I thought you meant something
couldn't
else.
be participating.
we're not gonna pay you.
Well,
I-
if someone's leading, like, don't you want to be a part?
Yeah,
Yes.
you couldn't be a
an active
participant.
member
I also have
participating?
other, like, I also know, like, my colleagues who would be willing to volunteer if, to help lead as well.
Mhm.
Because they said you can't facilitate and participate, because
Yeah.
that'd be participation.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
So, yeah, but,
Writing that
I still, you can't pull
Participation.
you can't pull the facilitation out of you, though. I don't know.
So with our timeline with the new events model that we all have to present our events to council by May for the following year, right?
I'm going to get clarity.
I thought that was a little
But-
aggressive.
Yeah.
What I mean, I get it. It is aggressive and or where I'm going with this is between now and the beginning of April, enough time for us to organize and do something so we can, when we're presenting these events to council in May, we show them how we're incorporating culture and what our process is for all of these things as a model for the rest of the city to be like, oh, do you know what I'm saying? Like, does that make sense? Is that too, like, short of a timeline?
I hear you. I don't know. I mean, I think we could probably use it as an example, but I don't know I think it would make sense for them to do something and for us to model off of it, but for us to create a framework and ask them to model off of it, I don't know if it works in both directions.
I don't
you know
think
what I'm saying?
I don't think the ask would be like model what we're doing.
Okay.
But the goal is to show them how this can be done
On a
so
smaller
that they're
scale,
not recreating a big, like a wheel independently. Like we kind of help lead up in a way, like you're leading them from behind. Because it's out of our wheelhouse what the city chooses to do outside of this group.
Right.
But if we could have our ducks in a row, is that feasible or is that too big of a lift?
I don't know. I don't know. And I wonder if it's maybe just too soon to know what we would even get out of it. I think from what I'm hearing from UC and Emily, I think it's a willingness to wander in and see what we can learn without knowing what may come out of it. But I think it's by starting the conversation, having one of those, I don't know what kind of the workshop is that you do, but I've done similar things like this where it's like, it helps generate ideas and get some structure to the conversation in the direction that you want to go. And then, it's ideas, conversation structure. And then what happens from there, it depends, so I don't know if we can come out of here saying, well, we're going to have a workshop and then we'll be really good at this stuff. So it's just, I think it's worth doing just to help shape the conversation just for the people in this room, so that we have a better idea. And then I think we could maybe decide, well, okay, maybe we have an idea of where we could go. And then that's something we could take to the city. I don't know.
Mhm.
But, I wouldn't want to try and put too high of expectations on what would come out of the workshop. Although I think it's a very valuable approach. But
I agree.
it's kind of just it's an iterative process, right?
Right,
Nobody knows
right.
exactly what you're supposed to do. If somebody did, they tell us.
Mhm.
And these things have, DEI, like, how many companies hired chief diversity officers, DEI experts, and now all those people are losing their jobs
Mhm.
because nobody knows what they're supposed to do with it. What does the end result look like?
Well, Lisa, I know you were, the proponent that implemented the culture. I believe you were, I think you said that
Yeah.
to the arts, because at one time it was the Arts Council, and
Yeah.
then you wanted to be Arts and Culture
Mhm.
Commission.
So this is
with
your
that-
fault, really.
This is my doing, yep.
Oh,
That's right.
it's
So was
her.
your intention with that, was your idea behind that to incorporate cultural, like what we're doing at the art festival with, or excuse me, at the fall festival with having ethnic dancers and that, and cultural, food trucks? Is that more the thought behind it, or were you thinking we need to focus on like these big news events and gain motion around those kind of things for the DEI?
In terms of the Arts and Culture Commission, I think that it's important to have artists from that represent our community and just different insights from various cultural members, just because that's not really represented in our community. And so to kind of highlight who else lives here as well and what do they bring to the table, like what assets do they contribute to North St. Paul, because there are a lot. So just trying to highlight that.
I like that. Yeah, I'm very supportive of that.
Yeah, and I think some of this was born out of the idea, it's like acknowledging that there are voices missing at this table and in some of the projects that we're doing, like we probably aren't representing the community as a whole if we look around, so what voices are we missing? How do we engage?
Even in art.
Yes, in our programming in general.
Right.
How are we making sure that we are connecting with the different people in our community and including them in our efforts?
And not the token food truck either.
Right. Yeah.
What's that?
Oh, like tokenism, like the token food truck that's like ethnic.
Like,
but-
look, we have burgers and hot dogs and sandwiches, but look at this Thai guy.
Or like the taco
Like
stand.
checking a box saying like, well, we did one
Yeah, like
symbolic gesture or brought in one person to kind of like check the box. So thinking about like having a deeper connection and creating more space.
Sure.
And continual.
Yeah, long term.
Sure. As far as the commission goes, there's only been one applicant that hasn't been on the commission. And there were 2 open spots but everyone else that ever applied is on the commission.
So I think that's not what I'm getting at. I'm saying like, okay, so why aren't we attracting, like what, are we reaching people from different communities than maybe our own? And letting them know like, hey, there is a place where you could come and talk about your culture. Do they even know this exists? Like, are we reaching them and creating space at the table and incentivizing it enough that they would want to apply or know about applying, things like that?
What if we planned it where we invited them to come to our meeting and give us their input on what they would like to see?
So that is one thing we've talked about a lot. And there's just, it needs to be a little, like the conversation has to be a little more nuanced than that for a number of reasons. Like we need to make sure that like if we're extending an invite, that we're extending it fairly, not just to the platforms maybe you and I use, but how are we reaching people to give out that invite? And then if we invite people to come and talk to us and tell us what they're thinking, are we going to, is that a comfortable request for them to just come in and tell us what they're missing, what we're missing? And then kind of like, are we asking for just like free labor from people to come and tell us, critique us? So just like making it so it's not a one, like us taking, it's kind of like us pulling a chair up sort of a vibe, if that makes sense. Not just like tell us what to do for free and come and tell us what we're doing wrong, more like.
We're not wrong, no, just give us ideas of what they would like to see.
Yes, and that is something that we're thinking about how we can implement that in a meaningful way.
And just to add to that, like also like not just where like where we're having them come to us, but we go to them, because like if it was comfortable for those communities to come to us, like they would have, or they'd be at these city council meetings or such. And so I think it's like you gotta reach in a way where people can hear the message, where they can also,
I understand what you're saying. I do know that in the past, when I worked at North St. Paul, when people were upset when they didn't know about something, I think the messages was pretty clear that, you know, our internet is our main means of communication, you know, and occasionally something would be printed, but with today's technology, you know, that's the way that we mainly communicate.
Yeah, and I would say like from like an accommodation and like some of the kind of like, yeah, the non-discrimination statements that public entities often have to put up, like you have to make a reasonable effort, or else it's considered discrimination. So if in the case, you know, that's one platform, I think it would be wise with the city to do a little bit more on reaching out to residents. We have to do our due diligence.
Different languages, even things like that, or just an example, like I come to this meeting and, you know, live streams and my dad watches sometimes and this isn't like an outlet. Hi, Dad. This isn't like, you know, something completely unfamiliar to him, but he's like, I would feel so nervous to go up there and sit and speak. And like, I promise it's really not that intimidating a person. Everyone's really nice, but just think, you know, if you've never even set foot in a room like this, how intimidating it might be for you to walk in and share. So just
That's probably why
thinking
we haven't
about
had the same 6 people at council meetings on a regular basis, right?
Yep.
And in
Right.
regards to the internet thing, I think it is important that the city maybe consider expanding. I still fill out forms for school, whether we actually have internet at home or not, and whether that student will have access to the internet. And so that tells me that there are families out there that don't have access to the internet. And as you know, the school my kids go to, it's completely in North St. Paul, even though it's, so I just think it's important that maybe the city consider other forms than just.
I think these are council issues and providing staff for that as well.
Yeah, that
you know,
particular issue is definitely not on us as the arts and culture, yeah.
right. But the thing I'm getting at is like, we're just trying to think about what we don't know. And if we're inviting people to speak to us, just trying to see things from a different lens and make sure that we're being really thoughtful. We can't just say, okay, come talk to us. Like, what can we do to reach people where they're
I
at?
completely agree with, if you want to go out to their communities and engage with them, you know, I fully support that, and I think it's a good thing, and, you know, something you should do.
From an arts angle too, we could learn different perspectives that for events planning, for project planning that we've overlooked, because we don't know what we don't know.
Exactly.
We can make assumptions, we can guess, but until we actually reach out and listen, I mean, that's why, like, I proposed the May deadline, because then we could know or incorporate culture into our event planning for 2025 with more intention.
Yeah, I just don't even know what any of it looks like as far as timelines go. So I'm not comfortable like saying yes or no. I think, yeah, we just have some work to do, and we'll be back next month, and hopefully we'll have a little bit better idea of what we're looking at.
So anything you want the commission to do tonight?
Entertain the thought of how we would want to do a workshop if we did. So I think that was probably just a thought. And
Okay.
who would we want there? If, you know, if we wanted more than just the commission.
Beanbag chairs.
Beanbag chairs?
Yeah.
I would like to sit in a beanbag chair for this workshop.
All right.
There's no
Beneficial to
city.
invite the Parks and Recs Commission to the same workshop, because they're planning a lot of public events as well.
Yeah.
If they're open to
City
that idea. Council could come if
I
they would
mean, you
like.
can always invite us.
Send it to everybody.
Yeah,
As we agree together, we can broach the topic then, right?
it's a pretty big room.
We could fill it up that way.
Thank you. All right. Carrie set me up here, so. So thanks for that update. Appreciate it and the time you took to meet. And I think that, League of Minnesota Cities is probably a good resource. Keep tapping that. And then I wonder if there's even, I know I've mentioned this before, I think with the U of M extension, who works there? You do. Yeah. Do they have stuff on this too? It seems like U of M extension has everything.
There are people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, Lisa was one of the people, so. No, she's not with us
Oh,
anymore.
well, you can lead the workshop.
I could.
It's
Let me
also a
consider
work
that
in
in my
progress
capacity.
over there.
Yeah.
The U of M has like full programs and offices dedicated to equity and diversity but it is such a broad, huge, expansive topic.
Mhm.
I've been through 10 2-hour-long diversity training courses and an advanced diversity dialogue circle that took 2 years to complete from start to finish.
Mhm.
And so condensing that, sure, they can do workshops, you can hire the U to do workshops in general. It's hard because it's such a big topic and there's so many facets.
Oh, it's
To equity
lifelong
and inclusion.
learning. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's why personally, I think that the word culturally competent is, you can't be competent in another person's culture. It's being like more culturally attuned. It's
Mhm.
continuing to learn and learn more and more and get more depth.
Mhm.
But anyways,
Well, maybe that could be our role, is to have some kind of educational events to focus on different interests.
Could be.
shoot those ideas over.
Yeah.
Happy.
If anybody's got the answer, just let us know. All right, old business. We kind of cover that as we go.
I have something I'd like to say on that.
Okay.
I just want to put this out there as we talk about budget coming up, especially. We've all mentioned about how we're a volunteer commission and time is getting kind of tight on projects. I wonder if we want to take a look at our project list and see if we want to spread things out over several years. So adding in public art, if we do utility boxes, for example, if we do 3 utility boxes every single year, that seems like a lot to me, personally. If we do a mural every single year, when do we stop?
Mhm.
And if we split this up and do utility boxes 1 year, murals another year, and alternate, it would be better on our time and maybe better on the city, because it's a long-term project. We're not just here for a few years, we're here for a long time.
Are you saying to kind of condense our efforts and work together on one sort of big project at a time, like as a group?
Not as a whole group, but just some of the bigger projects that we have that don't need to be yearly.
Okay.
If we bring in a culture event, or if we bring in a culture project even, if we start incorporating literary events, I'd love to see us expand arts even and do maybe maybe theater. But I don't want to overwhelm all of us, and maybe spreading out those projects and maybe making a 5-year plan even would benefit.
And I would say with our subcommittees, I felt the same way with having 3 different things going. So every week there was something going on, which became more than what I had anticipated. But that was the intention of dividing into subcommittees, so that we could actually get things done, because we would meet once a month and
Mhm.
things weren't. So I don't know what the solution is.
Getting things done doesn't mean we have to do everything.
No. Yeah, I think one thing that would be helpful too is getting clarity on what the expectations are with Carrie and some of those processes. And then that can help inform maybe some of the work based off of their capacity.
Just a suggestion as we move forward.
Totally legitimate. Yeah, you are all just here doing it, so.
Yeah, because what if I'm like, oh, I want to quit utility boxes and Project Snowy and.
No, you can't go to Project Snowy. That's almost done, and then it's done.
General, see.
Yeah, I mean, some things like Project Snowy, which is a huge project, once it's done, it's done. Murals are just kind of in and out, utility boxes, kind of in and out.
But even just,
Art card paints,
how many murals do you want in the city? Total?
500, 600?
Many as we can get.
How many walls do we have? No, I don't know.
I think there was something in the smart sheet where somebody took a picture of a bunch of locations. So
Mhm.
that-
Mhm.
Maybe as many as that.
Yeah, no, I don't know. There's no
Yeah.
number.
Just something.
And did we specify the number of, utility boxes? Maybe you don't need to do a phase again this year. I don't know.
I think it was suggested to do another phase.
Because we have money in the budget for it.
And we're already like halfway through.
That's not gonna free up anyone's time right now, but.
But the 5-year plan sounds like a great idea to talk about. So like, how many events total do we want to try and do, or how many programs annually?
And there's things that can happen every single year. I mean, Art Cart runs itself, it seems like, and
No. it
Well.
doesn't. I did not have any volunteers this year.
Well-
I had one, excuse me. I had
Okay.
one. I was supposed to have two, one never showed up.
you know what I mean? Is it's simple enough to do, what we've done this year.
Oh, yeah.
and
Yeah,
That seems like something that can be done every year simply.
as long as we get two dedicated volunteers.
And we reduced the number of
And we did, yeah.
times that it was
Yeah,
out.
it was only at, yeah.
That's all I have for old business.
Okay. Anybody else? Old business? Okay, Sarah, reports from staff.
Sure, yeah, I have one on here and then one I thought of while we were sitting here. So, parade updates. I don't have the location of where we will be in the parade. She's working on that tomorrow, I believe, so I will send that out in exactly the location where we should meet. But we are meeting at 5 PM that day. We have a public works truck along with a speaker that will be in the back of that as well, so we can play music as we go along.
Oh, yeah. Oh, great. So we have a vehicle.
Yes,
Okay, and will we decorate that or are we gonna?
we can certainly talk about it, but it hadn't been,
But it's all commissions together, right?
yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's mostly just us and Park and Rec. There's one planning commission person that's coming, so.
Who's driving the truck?
Yeah.
You.
You can if you like. So right now we have a bunch of candy to hand out. I did get the pencils ordered that we talked about a couple meetings ago, so those should be here in time. Unless we want to save those for the fall festival, because there's not a lot. But we do also have bookmarks with, the fall, autumn festival information on it. And then we have slap bracelets and poppets and things we can also hand out as well. So,
Save the pencils.
yeah.
Yeah, save the pencils.
Same, perfect. So just bring your t-shirts, kids are welcome, so if you wanna bring your kids or other family members, certainly bring them along. And then we're gonna have the sign too, so I don't know if any of you have seen, but there's a giant sign at Casey Park now for
Oh, is
our
it up?
event.
Mhm.
It is.
It's really nice.
So we're gonna have that, we're gonna pull that out and we can walk with it as well. So, but I will send out final details of where we're gonna be in the parade and where we should meet as soon as I have it.
Want to see what the sign looks like?
It's pretty.
Yeah,
It looks
It's
good.
really nice.
Thanks.
Yes.
I have a
Did you
baton
make it?
and
Did you
white
create?
boots,
Oh,
so I'll be able to
wonderful.
walk in front, go my baton. Mhm.
Very nice.
It's very nice.
Fantastic. So that's it for the parade. The other thing, I know it was mentioned, I believe C brought this up last time or the time before about having something on our website where people can submit art that they see or have throughout the city. So we do have that implemented now. It just hasn't been publicized yet, but there is a link on our website. It's gonna send all the submissions to, one of our email addresses at the city. That way we can review it and make sure that the person's okay with it, having it featured and all that. But we're gonna use, our wonderful girl Maddie from today as the launching point from that. So when we put the article out about, her being celebrated here, we're gonna say, and if you see others, please submit here. So
Cool.
that is what we're moving forward.
Did I come up with that idea?
I think you did.
I think it was
Take
me.
it. You're so good.
Tom's like, I think it was me.
Yeah, it could be you too. Whatever you
I have
want.
I have no memory of that. Neither do you, apparently.
No, I vaguely recall, I think I was.
So that's moving forward, but that's all I have.
Thanks, Sarah. Just getting stuff done.
Trying.
Great. Okay, reports from commissioners. Gary?
Nothing.
Stacy?
No, we're good.
Cece? Emily? C?
No,
Amanda?
I'm done.
Okay, I just had one thing.
You didn't check
No,
Lisa.
that's fine.
Oh, shit, I'm sorry. Lisa?
I'm good, thank you.
Sorry about that. I did have one thing, which is just, I was talking to Taylor Berman, the muralist, when we were out there, and there's an older couple that walked by, and they were really admiring the art and talking to the artist, and they were concerned about graffiti on it, and it's like, well, can't happen, but and they said, is there anything you can do to protect that? And Taylor said, well, there is kind of like an anti-graffiti, like coating you can put on it, and I think it's just, I don't think it zaps somebody that's trying to spray graffiti on it.
makes
It's
it
just
easier
that
to
it makes it easier to
Mhm.
clean, and I wondered if we could look into that. I know nothing about it, but I wonder if that's maybe something we could consider as a commission, you know, once the thing's all done, and see if we maybe code it some way protectively.
And I'm sorry. Are we done? Were we able to, do we have any extra t-shirts? Cause I would love to get him in a t-shirt, cause all the pictures we took of him, he's wearing a t-shirt, you know, it would be great to have.
Yeah, we don't have any extra ones.
Yeah, could we just make one? that
What,
says
the
North
arts
St. Paul?
commission?
Yeah, North St. Paul Arts and Culture Commission muralist. Make him a special t-shirt so when he's doing these other places, cause you know he will, he's very successful.
I can certainly look into that. It's gonna be really expensive for one shirt. I can certainly look into it and.
I could do one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have our logo.
Get a
He's
can of
very
orange spray
skinny,
paint.
he doesn't have to be a big shirt.
You can have mine. Yeah, no, I bought a bunch of the orange ones
Did you
and still
really?
have, yeah,
Oh my
I
God,
have
that'd be so
all sizes,
cool.
that's fine, I can do that.
And then
That's actually really cool.
check with the lawyer
Make
about
better
selling shirts.
Oh, yeah, what did we say? I don't remember what the contract said as far as the images are concerned.
We didn't address that in the contract, but we can.
No, I think you did. I think you had that the city retains ownership of the image and can use it in whatever way it wants. At least the last version I saw.
Okay, yeah, let me look into it.
Yeah.
So I had one more thought after, what was the thing that you said prior to Carrie's?
The coat on the mural.
Oh, does the muralist, he would be able to advise on what we should use, right?
I'm sure he would, yeah, he's the one that brought it up, so I
Okay.
didn't get any details with him.
Okay,
but,
do you have his contact information? I can reach out to him and see what we need and give an estimate and have it at the
Yeah,
next
sure.
meeting.
And what was your name again? Okay, reports from council liaison. Councilmember Wong.
Yeah, so it is budget season. Last night we had a meeting here and we had a workshop and we discussed what the levy may be. And the next meeting would be where we certify our maximum, which means that's the most that we can tax the community. And we can't go higher than that afterwards. And this is also the number that you'll see on like property value, your property taxes. But for the estimate, but it's not necessarily what you'll be levied. Because that will come in December. So we still have a little bit of, excuse me, lag time to get our final levy. So right now we're looking at about 5.5% levy, and that's basically keeping the status quo, things going as is. And And then we are looking at a few other additional decisions. That includes an increase for our fire department, our paid on-call volunteers, to increase it $1.50 an hour, and that will put, I think, like at $16.50 or something like that.
Still below,
It's still
yeah.
below
The average around
the
here.
average, yeah. And so that impacts the levy just 0.25. There's also been a request for an investigator for the police department. And
Have we ever had one before, Lisa? An investigator, do you know?
my understanding is we have one now, who is doing some of the work. And there's just one, I guess, that.
Just curious.
Mhm. So with like larger situations, that tends to go to the BCA.
Sure.
So any other investigations tend to be within our RPD. There was some discussion or requests around canines. We discussed that will probably not be likely because we have some other large decisions in the next coming years. So and then also a 2% basically for our streets. There hasn't been any funding dedicated to that on a regular basis, so we're starting at 2%. And then that's going to need to increase over the years to catch up. So things that we're considering for the future that will impact how we make our decisions this time around are union contracts coming up, the community center, facility funding. So we don't have very much money in terms of maintenance or set aside for maintenance, things like that, upkeep of our buildings.
And a facilities manager?
That would be great. And then kind of all the things that fall in that. So those are some of the decisions that are on the table right now. We did have a discussion on where we would like to see any additional funding potentially. And there was discussion about the parks, adding more for parks, adding more for facility funding, and the roads as well. So those will still be in conversation until December, but please communicate to the rest of the council on your thoughts and opinions and whatever, because we still have some time. So yeah.
So if I'm understanding this correctly, the 5% is like the minimum, and then for each consideration it goes up. Is there a maximum that has been established that the levy could be?
So the max will be officially certified at the next meeting, but
Okay.
we're not looking at more than 8.5%, which puts us in probably like the top third highest levy. And there's a lot of reasons for that. But yeah.
Okay, thank you for sharing that.
With Ramsey County running us through market valuations this time, does that have any impact on the 5.5% and what it, you know what I mean? Like, if all of North St. Paul is told that their houses are worth way more, that means the levy of 5.5% this time around is going to be deeper felt by all of our residents.
Yeah.
But how is that status quo? If it's, you know what I mean? If valuations have increased so much?
Yeah, so that's accounted for. So our finance director, he takes account the projections for the housing values that have changed in the last year. So I think that's largely why we're at about the 5.5%.
With the new properties too, like the anchor townhouses and.
That's, all accounted.
We don't get any money out of any of that stuff because it's all TIF finance, so in 20 years we'll get money. But TIF financing is just a bad deal for the country. That's, it was a good idea originally, but then became something that every developer just basically demanded, and every developer gets it, or they just, the projects go elsewhere. So every city that's trying to get something done, they're kind of screwed. They kind of have to do the TIF financing, because they say if not for that sweetheart of a deal, they wouldn't be able to build it. And I think that's baloney. And I think
all of our
it's
services increase as well.
right.
Even
All of
our
our services increase, all that, so, and all that cost is borne by the residents, because then those tax dollars don't go to the general fund like all the residents. So, and one of the hard parts about being a North St. Paul resident is that our tax base is mostly residential. We're not like Woodbury where we got a ton of business and we're getting a lot of taxes that way. So the balance is heavy on the residents. So that's kind of tough. So, but then with the general fund, sorry, Lisa.
You
But-
are on a roll.
But the general fund, if that goes up 5.5%, it goes up 5.5%. That doesn't mean everybody's taxes go up 5.5%. It really depends. So you can have some years where we increase the budget and one individual homeowner's taxes go down. Someone stays flat, someone goes up 10%. It all just depends. So the market valuation by the county is taken into account. And then, that's one piece of the puzzle. It's really complex when it comes down to like how you get taxed for, on your taxes, but I sat through it 5 or 6 times and, every time I'm like, okay, say it again. Like, how does this work? It's complicated, but that's the fact of the matter. The budget can go up and it doesn't necessarily mean that your property taxes are gonna go up. The budget can go down and it doesn't necessarily mean that your property taxes will go down.
Aren't levies applied equally? Doesn't everyone get like every homeowner get a 5.5% levy on their property tax?
No. I mean, the 5.5% levy is just that's the actual general fund budget, right? So we're saying, here's how much money we are charging the residents overall. But it doesn't, so we need this much money, and then it varies depending on all those property values and all those other things. So it's not straight across the board that way, because you must have seen sometimes maybe your property taxes went up just a little, or they went up a lot, or they went up.
a
My
lot.
valuation has
20
been going up every year.
Right, but so that's part of the
Insane.
reason why. So you're just not getting, you're not getting, everybody's not getting the same thing. Like sometimes I get my property tax bill. I have had, I think in my 20 years that my residents had it go down a little bit. And I've had times where it's, double digits multiple years in a row. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? And it may not have been that the levy went up that much, but my taxes did. But then there's, a lot of other pieces that are in your taxes when you look at that. So, I mean, you got all the school board stuff and any of the extra
County
stuff.
here would vote for that.
Well, we have a big one.
Sorry.
Look at all the work that's been done on the schools.
know.
It's great.
Amazing.
So it's complicated, but sorry, Lisa.
No, you're good. Any questions?
One, not on that, but, or maybe this might be for, Sarah, is, remember when we were gonna do a tour? Is that still something?
I haven't heard any updates. I don't know if you have either.
I certainly have not. My understanding was Chris was on that.
Switch to Carrie, so.
Oh,
I don't know.
Sure.
It's an event, so.
If we get the plan in by next May, it'll happen in 2025.
Let's have lunch at the Ethiopian Cafe. That'll be great.
That would be fun.
Okay, and then just a quick few other updates, so we can get out of here. The Lilly Building, we broke ground there. Blue Nile, we had our ribbon cutting there, and there's that smoothie shop in the,
Polar Nutrition.
yep.
Mhm,
So there's a new owner,
mhm.
and so there will be a ribbon cutting for that coming up as well.
Where's that?
So it's in the same spot.
What happened to the original one?
It's in the,
That place that looks like a house, sort of.
it's in the strip mall behind Subway.
Oh, by Target.
Yes.
What's happening with the
Oh,
one?
and the animal, but
They're developing it.
And so I heard there's a restaurant opening in the K and
Their
J's.
market
Right,
rate.
integration.
I thought,
Yes.
I just wanted to
Really?
confirm.
And
Very
retail.
slow. I would not count on that happening.
If I,
So
okay,
it's
I
like-
remember.
oh, yes.
Is it under new ownership?
It is.
Oh,
Are you able to
good.
connect
It
to
looks
someone
like
who
a
might
donut.
know
Is that-
the
Yeah, is that
rental
the-
rates on the workspaces?
I'm so sorry.
Okay, there's Starbucks in the Target.
That's true.
Anything else, Lisa?
I'm sure there is a lot, but I will take any questions. If there are any, okay.
Good job.
Anybody want to move to adjourn?
I move.
Okay.
I second.
Second by Lisa. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
This meeting adjourned at 8 something, 17.
Ain't too late.